I'm Rod Duff, your host.
And I'm producer Barbie.
And together,
we bring you our podcast,
Insights in Straight Talk. And with that, producer Barbie and I are out. Oh, shit. Okay, that's a different version. All right, I'm still trying to get all my shit back together here, guys. Got a great show for you today. We had it yesterday, and there was a thing going on. And by the way, we want to wish good health to the gentleman you'll be meeting, his partner in this business, which is called Fresh Mouth. And in that, there is a pushing back of the narrative within oral health as well as health altogether. He and I were just talking. I was going to tell him I'm going to throw him back in the green room, but then I saw how built he was, and I said, I'm not even going to say that out loud, joking. I'll get my ass kicked. Try and throw that man into the green room. I ain't even getting enough. And I'm not a small guy. You'll see in a minute. So we're talking about a couple of guys that a little bit ago started a very successful company and are on the circuit, so to speak, going around and talking to different people about different things, because the mission of this story, and by the way, I'm just kind of getting people while they're getting their coffee, drinking, just stirring up the crowd, on that, when before a concert or a comedy show, somebody goes out to kind of chit chat with the crowd and get them dialed in and wait for a few more to show up. It looks like they're starting to dribble in here, my friend. Anthony, we start to get about 10 minutes in and questions start coming up just from experience. We've done like 20, as you guys know, we've done like 20 some hundred of these shows so far. I'm still messing with this background thing. I do like the newer studio, but I'm still working with getting it dialed in. Just started a show. As you guys also know, see this picture back here, this lovely little young lady. That's a few years ago, but that's my granddaughter. She's 16 now. And her and I are starting a show called, we actually had our first live a couple of days ago. We're having one probably later today, but for sure as well tomorrow, about how that younger generation. So the man you're going to meet looks like he's about 32 and in his prime, but instead he's 49 and in his prime because of that ability to start looking out after yourself. And actually that's starting now, even at a younger age than we thought so before, or that we were used to before, at least us old folks. I like to refer to the coloring. You guys are starting to sprinkle in now. I appreciate you coming in. We got about a dozen people. But what I was talking about is my picture here of my favorite woman in the world, girl in the world. The granddaughter of mine, of my second child. My first just had his first grandchild about a year ago, and that's why I moved here to where we did in Oklahoma, besides the fact that we're in the heartland now of the great middle class. But Emma and myself started a show under this umbrella. As you know, this is Independent Media Source, IMS, Insights in Straight Talk, with Rod Duff, your host, and producer Barbie. We also have one that's dedicated called Breakfast and Coffee and Tea Time. And I forgot my coffee. It was right here. I got my trusted soda. So anyway, and that's dedicated to the AI world, the oncoming automation, AI, Bitcoin, blockchain, crypto, all these things that are well, I should have said crypto, Bitcoin, and then blockchain and others, the things that are really developing the world of which we're all going to be living in shortly. And then, of course, Insights in Straight Talk with Emma and Grandpa Rod. And in there, we're talking primarily and to the parents of people in the 13 to 19, maybe 20 age year group, because Emma's really, her and I talk a lot. We're pretty tight. We talk, I don't know, at least several times a day. I go out there every time I can. Her last spring break, I went out and picked her up, and then we flew to Texas to meet her new cousin and hung out with a couple of friends that had moved to the near area, and her family, meaning her uncle, who's also a podcaster. He does a show called Be Money, and it's at Brandon Duff, BrandonDuff. He's kind of got me back into this business here, so to speak, of helping communities grow and expand. And today, because we've had a lot of discussion about in our family here, a lot of requests to do some more political stuff, because there's some real funky stuff going on right now. So we'll leave everything else alone. I think the crowd is, getting anxious, and if I keep talking, they're going to leave. So I need Anthony to come in. I need you to make this a more interesting show, and keep these people. Look at it, it's already it's up to 41. As soon as I clicked on you, it went from that dozen to 41. So,
I'm sure it was me.
Yeah, 100%, man. They're seeing bicycles next to yours. Give me some of that. There's some eye candy. Let's look and see what we got going on. So one thing we didn't talk about in the back, and we did talk about the ability to get into some subjects that what your business does is affected by, meaning health, meaning regulations, meaning all the conspiracy theories that go around that are called conspiracy theories, because people don't want us to take as much light into things that are important, that are happening in our world, that we need to really address. And that's what you and I were talking about. We'll use the word conspiracy theory because everybody know what that means. But you know what we're talking about, and everybody around here does too. We're tired of the bullshit. But before we get into all that, what led you guys, both of you, take your partner into account here? He had to go take care of his wife. God damn it! I mean, seriously, my God, how rude of him. And we'll blast.
I don't know what he was thinking. Standing you up like this?
I know, and for his wife, my God, she's sick and she's in the hospital. And my God, seriously, why didn't you take your phone with you and sit next to your wife and go, honey, honey, I'm doing a show. Say hi. Hi.
Yeah, say hi, wave.
So your journey started somewhere. Some people go back to birth, depends on the subject. You don't have to do that. But, I would like to know, in the childhood, how did you guys meet? Did you guys grow up together? How did this whole concept start? Not how did it start, but before, how did it start? What led you guys? I mean, do you know each other? Did you meet in college? Give us the backstory so we have questions that trust me, these guys are going to want to ask you questions. They study. I guarantee you they already know about, they're on here for a reason, because we've been advertising this. It was just a day later than, but we've been advertising this as we always do. So there's people on here. There will be. There's people. Wow, there's 100. Holy shit. There's already, it's doubling. So there's like 60-ish now. They're starting to roll in. Got their coffee, sitting on their porch probably, sitting back, got their headphones on or their whatever, and they're ready to hear the story. But we want to hear the story of the story before the story starts.
No problem.
All right, go do your thing.
Surprisingly enough, I was in the fitness and nutrition industry for most of my life growing up. So ever since I was 18.
There's no way you ever worked out or did anything fitness.
So when I was kind of getting a little bit older and feeling like I needed something different, kind of reached that ceiling in the fitness and nutrition industry. I was just looking for a better career. Got into health and life insurance. So that's where I met Larry, was doing health and life. So I worked for a health and life insurance agency for about 6 to 8 months, then started my own health and life insurance agency. And he actually became one of the people that I contracted through. So he's been in the health and life insurance industry for probably 40 years.
All right, you got to expand on that for a second. Excuse me. I know what life insurance is, obviously, but you say health and life insurance. So health insurance and life insurance combined is what you're saying. Two different things, but you're doing that.
Yeah, they're two different things, kind of like what we were saying before about politics. It's two wings to the same animal, kind of, sort of. So when you get licensed, you either have health and life insurance. You could do one or the other, but typically you get both at the same time. Or you do like home and auto and, like that.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
those are
Okay.
kind
So
of the
traditional.
Yep.
It's
So health
traditional.
insurance
I was thinking in my mind that there was something different when you were, I don't know why, health and life insurance.
Yep.
But yeah, it's health insurance and life insurance. Gotcha.
Yep.
I made
So
a big
kind of
deal out of
combined.
nothing there. Cool.
Oh yeah, no. So we did both. Now the bad part. So when I opened up my agency, he was the main contract that I had was through him. So we sold a lot of. We were independent brokers, so we sold a lot of different products. Most came through his contracts. That's how we met, and that was probably close to about 20 years ago now. So we've known each other for a couple of decades. That's why I said he's like a brother to me. Kind of been through thick and thin, up and down, opened up different businesses, and that was one of them. So we started opening up call centers for health insurance, and Obamacare really put a number on us, kind of destroyed us, because we sold basically independent health insurance to small business owners, and that's what Obamacare was all about, was the small business owners. So we still stayed afloat for a while, a couple different loopholes, but it really destroyed the business. So we were kind of planning for the future. The whole idea was, what can we do that was kind of similar to the health insurance, health and life insurance, but didn't want to be in the insurance industry anymore. I was in fitness nutrition, so I kind of wanted to go back to that. He owns a dental insurance product, so he has his own dental insurance product. So then we just started kicking around the ideas of, what kind of wellness products were available for dental and for oral hygiene. Then we thought, and to be honest, it was almost like a kind of get rich quick scheme, so to speak, because we were going to try and market this product, this oral wellness product, to dental insurance companies. He had a lot of contacts with them and everything, so they were all for it. They thought it was a great idea. Awesome. We could send out monthly packages to everybody. But the only issue when we started formulating, I'm into nutrition, right? So I'm all about health and wellness. I was completely against fluoride. When he pitched it to these insurance companies, they said, no problem. We love the idea, but we have to have fluoride in the product. Fluoride is a must. And it kind of went against our integrity, putting fluoride in our products, because then we liked health insurance because we were helping people at the time, before Obamacare. We sold good products. We had good contracts. Everybody was happy. We made money. Our customers were happy. They stayed with us for a long time. Going into a nutrition product that's poisoning people, and I can get into more of that, but that's kind of what fluoride is. It's toxic waste. Even the CDC deems it as a neurotoxin, right? So there's tons of studies out there. We know a lot. It's becoming a lot more frequent.
Let's take a break here. Let's take a break. Yeah, absolutely. And we're getting into right into the current meat of things. This has been a subject around for a long time. I'm going to mess around though, in between talking. I'm still listening, but compared to you, I'm like this freaking shadow in the corner, and this is driving me nuts. So I got to work on my lighting. Yeah, exactly. Usually it's the other way around. I usually have too much light, but this is my second showing. Actually, no, that's not true. I had one with my granddaughter on Monday. I had 3 yesterday, and then one today. Yesterday was fine, and then I wanted to make some tweaks and turn it up a little bit, but now it's all dark. So I'm going to mess around with that, but I wanted to ask you, so fluoride is toxic waste that we're forced to use. Now, I've heard a whole bunch of different things on this, as everybody has. This is like what's that guy that pushed the Dr. Fauci? This is like Dr. Fauci all over again, the kind of Dr. Fauci subject where every other week something else is said. And even though you just contradicted yourself, you're not allowed to look at it that way. Because I know better than you, and you're just stupid. You're a deplorable, and he walks away still getting paid. What's he still make? $400,000 a year or something?
Oh yeah, highest paid employee.
Fuck, and he's not even working. That's what he's getting now.
Yeah, and when's the last time you heard of him or heard from him? Like, he's kind of disappeared.
It should be a jail sentence that should be you know those guys that in the Nazi times when they found those doctors that were experimenting and doing fucking really like radiation tests on people and all those really bad things. That's Fauci. Those guys eventually got caught. I hope to God he gets caught, because that's the most crooked person I've ever heard about in my life.
Evil.
And he'll sit there and look you straight in the eye while he's making $500,000 a year, stealing your life, your liberty, and everything else from you, and laughing along the way. He got pardoned by Biden. Why?
Before he got pardoned by Biden without saying what
without
the crime was. That's never happened.
Yeah,
How do you get pardoned for crimes that you haven't been committed, supposedly, right?
Welcome to America, my friend.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know what we got off on here. We got off on something, but the fluoride thing, no, we're going to keep going off on that, I hope. Maybe not just Fauci. He's just
the fluoride thing also goes into what you said about Germany and the Nuremberg trials and all that stuff. So
exactly. But isn't it amount of fluoride, or is it fluoride period? Because that's the part I was actually asked. Oh, you see, I told you what time is it? Oh, wow, they're starting late. Okay, 16 minutes in, we got our first question. But going with the fluoride is that, and what I'll do is I'll post them up here every once in a while, and then I'll ask you about them. Or if it's right where you think it should be placed at that second, then jump right on it.
That's exactly where I was leaning into is, so that's where we wanted to make sure that we didn't have fluoride in our products, right? So we kind of nixed the whole idea.
No fluoride, zero fluoride.
No fluoride.
We should be having no fluoride period in our water. Because we have it in our water still, right?
And I'll get into why it's in our water, the real reason why it's in our water, because it's not for our teeth. That's not the reason why it was put into our water.
What I'm told every day.
Yep, that's what we've been taught. That's what we've been told. And even if it was, let's think about it this way. Even if fluoride was put into our water system, into our toothpaste to actually help our oral hygiene, what is another medicine of any sort that's been legally allowed to be put in our water supply to help us without our okay with it, right? None. It'd be completely illegal. So, but fluoride for some reason was okay. So I'll answer the quick question, but after our insurance agency kind of dissolved, we started pitching to some of the dental insurance companies about doing an oral hygiene kind of package. So it was going to be toothpaste, floss, rinse, and a toothbrush, because you look at all these different factors, all these scientific studies on bacteria on the toothbrush, and I'll get into all of that. But we decided not to go the route with the insurance companies because it would definitely question our integrity. So instead, we formulated our toothpaste. That's our center item. We formulated a toothpaste without fluoride. Now, statistically, what happens is all natural toothpaste, and we've had a lot of, we'll say, lengthy discussions with dentists over the years. And the one thing that they come to the table with and say is, well, my patients, if they switch over to all natural toothpaste, they get more cavities. Statistically, that's true. So, and I admit that to them when I'm talking to them. Statistically, it's true. If you switch over to an all natural toothpaste without fluoride, statistically, you get more cavities. But there's a reason for that. So the reason is most of those all natural toothpaste don't use an antibacterial agent. So now we went through a lot of different formulations, a lot of different things that we were looking at. We were looking at neem, which is an Indian herb. It's actually called the plaque destroyer, phenomenal product. Bee propolis is another one. Some dental communities actually use bee propolis as a treatment.
Define a little bit about what these, because I've never heard of these names. Probably most people haven't. I'm getting a little bit brighter in here, a little bit brighter. Still playing around.
Neem is.
But what is that? What are those things?
Neem is an Indian herb. It comes from a tree. So, centuries ago, that's what they used to take care of their teeth. They would chew on this neem tree, and the neem actually helps dissolve the plaque on your teeth. So there is some antibacterial agents with neem. And then bee propolis, which is basically
like a bamboo-ish texture,
like
the way you describe
it. So it served multiple purposes because it would pull some of the toxins out from between the teeth, kind of like flossing does, but it also would destroy the plaque that would be surrounding the tooth and the gums. But it only kills gram-negative bacteria, not gram-positive. So kind of like fluoride. Fluoride does kill some bacteria, but it doesn't kill all the bad bacteria. Where what we formulated,
gram-positive, sorry, I'm trying not to interrupt you.
No,
I have a really bad habit of doing that. But the thing is you're talking about a very technical field,
Right.
meaning medical, and you're living it day in and day out. My whole thing here is my two big jobs. It's my whole life right now. Now is my whole life. Opening up the show, kind of doing a little bullshit routine and dancing in front of people, getting them warmed up for the show. That's my primary. And then the next one is I know I'm the safety net. If I understand it, if I get it, anybody else here will get it. So I'm interrupting only because you're saying things that are common to you and just come out as far as terminologies. And so I'm just going to add, do you have a hard stop? Are you okay on time?
No, I'm fine. Yeah. We can go as long as you want.
Okay. We have shows that go 2.5 hours sometimes.
That's fine.
And I'm not working for that. Trust me. I'm still moving in. I'm not trying, but these guys rule the land, you know. And if you're okay, then I don't. Sometimes I have to measure that. You know what I mean? Somebody's got a hard stop in an hour and a half.
No.
I have to start winding it. You know what I mean?
We could probably talk for 2.5 hours. I'm definitely the talker of the two. So
no, I already told you.
Well, here I'll give you the example that I usually give to people. There's
terminology.
Now there's all kinds of different bacteria, right? So you have all these different scientific names and that nobody would really know what the hell it is, right? The way I explain it is 3 basic kinds, right? You got the good bacteria, you got the bad bacteria, and you have neutral bacteria, okay? So what happens in your mouth, think of it as kind of a war. So like when you use alcohol-based mouthwash, it's kind of like a bomb in your mouth. It kills everything, right? It wipes out all the bacteria, good and bad.
True.
When you cut your grass and you think about it rains, you cut your grass, it rains. The next day, what starts to grow first? The weeds or the grass, right? We know the weeds always come back first. The bad, for some reason, usually comes back first. So it's the same thing in your mouth. So you set that bomb off with alcohol-based mouthwashes, wipes everything out. If you continuously do it, the bad comes back first, and then the neutral bacteria ends up siding with whoever's winning the war, so to speak. So
I've heard this.
Yeah. So then the neutral bacteria will double onto the bad bacteria, and then you start creating halitosis in the mouth, which is basically bad breath, we'll call it.
Is that part of gingivitis too?
No, gingivitis is different. The gingivitis, that's starting to eat away where you start getting gum disease, periodontal disease, things like that.
Hello.
Now that can be reversed, or I'll say anecdotally, I do have customers that have reversed it. My mom is actually one of the people that have reversed the periodontal disease. So
really?
What happened? Yeah. So this gets kind of into another subject.
No, stay with where you are now, but let's drift around. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're okay kind of shooting back and forth, I'm definitely okay with it. But periodontal disease, what happens with that, there's no pain typically. So it usually comes with, or very little pain. You might get bleeding of the gums, but it usually comes with no pain. So a lot of people end up with gum disease or periodontal disease through their life, and they'll never know about it, right? So they continue to go, but we're told when you get older, your teeth fall out. And you'll even go to the dentist, and the dentist will even say, well, it's just, that's what happens. You get older, your teeth fall out. Surprise, shocker, right? Old age is not a disease that causes your teeth to fall out, right? So there has to be a reason. Just like getting sick, there's a reason. What happens? We get that periodontal disease or gum disease, gingivitis, it builds up, it festers, we don't feel pain, we don't go to the dentist, and then it continues to build and build and build, and then we get older, it eats away, and then our teeth fall out. So it's not the old age that causes our teeth to fall out, it's the actual periodontal disease or gum disease that causes that to happen. So if the dentist does catch it, they have a solution. A solution, right? They slice open the gum, they peel it down, they scrape that bacteria out, and then they gum graft it back, depending on how severe it is. But then they don't give you any guarantee that it's not going to return. The reason being is, now, and this is the reason why most of us do get gum disease, is there's nothing that can penetrate on a cellular level in between the tooth and the gum to stop that bacteria from forming and from building. Okay. That's why we go back to our formulation. That's why we formulated with silver. So we use nano silver, just means smaller particles. This way it can actually penetrate in between the tooth and the gum. Now, the reason we formulated with that, obviously that was a big reason, but it also has the most scientific studies of anything else that's out there as an antibacterial agent, as a natural antibacterial agent. So silver, it's called a noble metal, silver, gold, and copper. They're metals that are minerals. So not all metals are minerals, not all minerals are metals, right? But silver, you take it back to Egypt, the Roman times, blue bloods, right? So we've heard phrases like blue bloods, born with a silver spoon in your mouth. I'd imagine the large majority of people watching this show have heard that phrase, born with a silver spoon in your mouth. That's because the rich back then had access to actual silverware, and they used it to kill the bacteria on food. So that, and then the poor used it.
No kidding. Yes, I've heard born with a silver spoon in your mouth, but silver is that. I've been fighting this cough. I apologize, but silver, that is part of the thing that kept our mouths, the wealthier people, that again, we get back to this. Here's another thing. Elites have more access, which you can't blame them. I mean, sure. Hell, but why? But we now have the ability through technology to bring this kind of knowledge together, because I guarantee you there's probably there's probably a few, but I guarantee you maybe nobody in this audience has ever thought about silver being an actual ability for keeping your body healthier. And I have heard, especially what you're talking about now, when you talk about bacteria underneath the gum lines and all that, one of the potentially more dangerous surgeries is gum or mouth surgery, because bacteria can really, it can go bad quick. Right? Am I right about that? I've heard this before.
Absolutely, because then it can enter the bloodstream.
Right, really quick.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's like right there.
So when you nanotize the silver and make it smaller particles like we do, it can actually penetrate in between the tooth and the gum and prevent any of that bacteria from building up. So now if you already have gum disease or periodontal disease, we also have a product. It's called Perio Swish. So there's a lot of people know about coconut oil pulling. So you swish coconut oil in your mouth for 10 minutes and it pulls all these toxins from the teeth. Okay. Now,
why do you say things like a lot of people? Why do you say things like a lot of people know about? Because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Usually when I explain our product on the Perio Swish, so we travel the country, we do shows all over. We're usually gone more than we're not. And so we talk to thousands and thousands of different people.
Yeah.
A lot of those people, I'll say a lot of people. Yeah, you're right. Let me rephrase. When I say a lot of people, I mean a lot of people that are in more, we'll call it the truther movement. We'll call it the people that are looking for the truth on a lot of different things, whether it be political, whether it be spiritual, whether it be health and wellness. A lot of those individuals are familiar with coconut oil pulling. And usually when I ask them, they're like, oh yeah, I do coconut oil pulling, or I've heard of coconut oil pulling. All it is coconut oil. You swish it around in your mouth for 10 minutes. It gets in between all the crevices, pulls a lot of the toxins out, but you have to spit it because it doesn't kill any of the toxins. So
you can't swallow it. You spit it out.
It is definitely toxic.
Okay, I get it.
So our
I got that tone of voice.
Yeah, no. Some people say you're not even supposed to spit it in the toilet because it's so toxic it could clog the toilet. I don't know if that's true. Not sure, but that's what I've heard.
Got to be a bad toilet to start. I got to
maybe they should have flushed other things first. I don't know, but anyways,
I agree.
Our Perio Swish is a similar product in the sense that it's 7 different essential oils ozonated. You swish it around the mouth, and because of the ozone, it actually kills that bacteria. And
Okay,
it all
get
can
that.
penetrate in between the tooth and the gum as well and kill that bacteria that's there. Where our nano
So you have
silver
silver.
toothpaste, yep,
Silver is only in the toothpaste. This ozone is the swish,
yep.
and these other things. Is silver in there too, or is this a
So yeah,
different?
That one's different. We have silver in our toothpaste,
Like a
and we have
mouthwash.
silver in our mouthwash. So our mouthwash, it's a concentrate of silver, xylitol, and peppermint extract. So you do like 3-4 drops in an ounce of water.
Got some good
You
smell.
switch with that. It enhances the silver in your mouth when you spit. So this way, you're not just losing all the silver. But that's kind of what we did, was put together a complete brushing system. So this way we kind of hit all avenues. But I wanted to mention the question that you put up there. This kind of gets into where fluoride did start and kind of the reasons for it in the water system.
Are you talking about Ronaldo here? You're talking about Ronaldo here, right? By the way, I don't want to just jump past this. She's a very big, well, she has been. I don't know what's going on with her lately. She is not, she's kind of vanished a bit. And then all of a sudden she shows up here. She's a very big fan of the show. She's very intelligent. She does a lot of the stuff that you talk about, conspiracy theories, the truthers. She's very knowledgeable in that. And I want to talk about the truth. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep you off your subject for a minute, just to kind of fill in some gaps. Absolutely. I just don't want to break your stride. I know you're in sales, you can adjust, but I also want to be sympathetic, because I kind of, I love stories.
My weak point is jumping around too much. So I always try to focus to get back to my point. But that's why when I saw the question, I'm like, oh, I want to talk about the question. you know how I say that? I say, oh, squirrel.
Yes, exactly. ADHD, baby. ADHD.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. But you got to learn. And what's interesting is when you have two people bouncing, sometimes you can get that bounce in the right direction and just keep bouncing, and kind of, I like to use the term, be the cushions in the bowling alley when you're a kid.
Oh yeah.
The bumpers.
Yep.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Absolutely.
But this is a lot more fun. So Ronaldo's question here is obviously a good one. And I want to get back to the truther thing, because I've heard that term before. I didn't realize how much. Thank God I do this show, because I'm an old guy and I'm out. I hear these terms, but I didn't know that's what it meant. Yep. That's very cool. We'll get back into that, because you promised me politics too, besides your sister. And also, I can't wait till you get into the actual toothbrush, which is part of your system. Correct? Do you make that in the Chicagoland area by chance?
Oh yeah. Yep. I'm just outside of Chicago.
The manufacturing of it.
Oh, the manufacturing? No, the manufacturing for our toothbrushes is Korea.
Ah, okay, darn it. Because I used to sell equipment to a bunch of different plastics companies, and your product looks way better than the one that we did. But I know a bit about that side of the business, so we'll get into that, just the physical side. But I want to, before I get off this and let you go again, Ronaldo, I just wanted to give her a shout out, because I haven't talked to her in a while, and I want to make sure she's okay. She's going through some stuff. And at the end of the day, I'm just glad to see her here. And what a great question. Please go back to where you were before I threw you against another.
No worries. So she asked, wasn't fluoride part of mind control at one time, right? Which absolutely, because fluoride was used in the concentration camps in Germany to make the prisoners more docile, more open to suggestion, right? So that's a big part of
really.
That's the conspiracy. We'll go into the conspiracy part. But it does. That's a proven fact that it does make you more docile. Absolutely. It does make you more open to suggestion. So the mind control portion is naturally, if you're more open to suggestion, and they continue to feed different things into your subconscious, right, through commercials and things like that. Which
media.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So every day you're brushing your teeth and you're drinking your water, because it's in water, and your toothpaste. So day by day is that continual governmental. Here we are.
Slowly but surely.
Governmental. just marching you down the lane. We talk about school systems and all the school. Europe's a little better than ours. That's a whole nother subject. But same thing. They're teaching you how to be a worker. What you're talking about is they're teaching you how to do. Or the suggestions are easily accepted by you to do whatever the hell, the zombie walk through your entire life.
And actually, I'll even add on that point. So think about the schooling system, right? And the dentists that we speak to. And now I'm not saying all dentists are the same, because you do have some holistic dentists out there, but we get into these arguments with dentists. Now, when we do these shows, we have books of scientific studies printed out on the table because of that exact reason. So then I can just flip to the studies and say, it's right here. They're not my studies. They've been studied for hundreds of years about silver and about fluoride. So some of the studies about fluoride, they've gotten so detailed. And these studies are the reason why RFK Jr., by the way, is so adamant about removing it from the water system. So there's a website called.
Now hold on though. He's now is this? Let's clear some. Well, maybe not cleared up, but let's touch on something right there. He has said that, but he's also backed off a little bit in the water, hasn't he? Lately, he's saying a little percent we're too much. So is that pressure politically? When what you're thinking, is he backing down now, or is he?
In my opinion, if he's backing down and saying a little bit is okay,
last month or so, about a month ago, I haven't heard much lately on it.
That's without a doubt, in my opinion, is political pressure, because fluoride comes from. First, I'll say where it comes from.
What is fluoride? Yeah,
fluoride comes. It's a byproduct of aluminum. So in these aluminum factories, the smokestacks, as the smoke comes up, that's where the fluoride is taken from. They scrub the smokestacks and they get the fluoride. And instead of paying hundreds of millions of dollars to dispose of toxic waste, they sell it back to the municipalities to put in our water system. Now, how'd that come about? That deal. Now, here's the real reason. And again, just for your YouTube and everything, for the conspiracy is that when the arms race was
crazy now.
When the arms race was happening, why?
Okay.
I've had some bad experiences, and I don't want you to suffer any consequences from anything that I say. So conspiracy theory is.
Well, hold on. You're not getting away with that easy. No way. So but I'm also, you also made me a little nervous there. So I'm going to say
that's why I worded it that way.
Perfectly. What potentially could get me in trouble? Meaning, who would you piss off?
Oh, YouTube.
The whole YouTube?
Oh yeah. There's certain subjects that they will delete. They'll give you a strike.
Oh, the actual YouTube channel, the actual channel itself.
Yep.
So you and I are flirting with. We're on the epicenter. We're flirting with. God, you make me so curious.
So that's why I always say conspiracy. I always say, come on, this stuff isn't
okay. But you're going to talk about it right now. You're just lightening it up right now. But you're going to, because I'm curious as hell as to what could potentially get me in some trouble. Lay it on me, brother. And then I'll tell you to get thicker or not, right? Can I do that to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
So during the arms race, every country was involved in the arms race. Every country wanted to make the nuclear weapon, right? So it wasn't that the U.S. was, we were the ones that figured it out. No, that everybody has the recipe for disaster, so to speak, right? All the other countries pulled out, and I'll tell you why. So what we always hear about is uranium, right? So, so-and-so sold uranium to this country and blah, blah, blah. Uranium, you do need uranium for the atomic bomb, but without fluoride, you don't have an atomic bomb. Fluoride is what enhances the uranium. That's what really makes it go boom. That's the gas that makes it go boom. So without fluoride, you cannot make the atomic bomb. So there were actually countries that came to the U.S. I'm not positive which ones. There was 2 countries that actually came to the U.S. to find out how we were still able to make fluoride safely. All the other countries pulled out because their workers were getting sick. They were getting cancer. They were having bone problems. They were having neurological disorders. We kept going. And now you can look at all these different lawsuits from hundreds of thousands of people at this point of all the after effects from being in those factories where they were scrubbing the smokestacks to get the fluoride out. And then they needed to show a safe and effective way to include fluoride into the population. And that was, they took a test, they put a tooth in a petri dish, they covered it in fluoride particulates, okay, kind of like candle wax, because you could do that with candle wax, right? You can just cover the tooth with candle wax. Same type of study, and showed that it stops sucralose, or sugar, is what it is, from attacking the tooth. That was the test that they ran, which, by the way, candle wax would do the same thing. And that was the main test that they used. Now, they also showed a study that showed that fluoride could harden the enamel, which at the very beginning it does. But what fluoride does is it changes the chemical compound of your tooth. So it changes the chemical compound of your tooth, which causes your teeth to then prolonged use of fluoride causes your teeth to actually get softer, which now, so if the enamel gets harder, naturally it's less prone to cavities. After 3 to 5 years of continuous use, well, now it turns your teeth softer. And then the number one cause of cavities is called fluorosis, too much fluoride. So you start getting staining of the teeth. You start getting softer enamel.
That's what fluorosis means. The term fluorosis means too much fluoride.
Too much fluoride. Yep.
It's and that's bold. Hold on. It's that bold in the industry of dentistry. Let's just say it's that bold.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Meaning there's a term which I know but never thought about. Just like every other average Joe and Jill and Barbara and Sue out there have heard Floridia or have heard these terms. But its actual meaning is too much fluoride, and yet we have fluoride in these mouth
in our water and our toothpaste. They're even a lot of people don't realize that there's even fluoride in most dental floss. So that's another issue.
Yes,
so
actually I've seen that. Yes.
God, so our floss is fluoride free as well. So our floss, it's like a charcoal base with a coconut coating. So there's all of these studies out there.
So these studies, right? You're going back into it. I was a little slow on the trigger.
No,
it would have been a perfect transition back and forth. These studies, I'm guessing we're in the 50s, right?
For fluoride. Well, fluoride studies have been running for decades because
no, but I mean scrub. You talked about how did these other countries asked us how we could, and so to prove it, we put it in the water. That's how you introduce it. But as far as scrubbing it out of the
smokestack, that actually started in the 1800s. That actually started in the 1800s. Yeah, back in Germany,
so
that actually started.
No, here in the U.S. They went back to the studies in Germany, who was obviously ahead of us on this at that time, and they eventually pulled out because these because of these. Okay, so this has been a long 1800. So like 200 years older than our. Just after our country started. This has been now.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot more with that. That's a political kind of non-oral wellness aspect when you start getting into Germany and the war and things like that. But pharmaceuticals and things of that nature. But when you look at the studies of fluoride now from here, there's so many. There's a website, and this is actually the people that took the stand against the EPA last year was the Fluoride Action Network. And they have all the studies on their website. They go so detailed into some of these studies that you can even see if a pregnant woman is over fluoridated, what happens to the baby after the baby is born. So what the studies show is if a woman is pregnant with a girl and has too much fluoride while she's pregnant, there's a high probability that girl, as she gets older, will have thyroid issues. Okay. if that woman is pregnant with a boy and has too much fluoride through the pregnancy, there's a high probability that that boy, as he continues to grow, will have ADHD. So these are all proven studies, and these are just a couple. So they have so many studies that even the CDC has deemed it as a neurotoxin. The kind of funny, ironic part is if any of us got caught dumping one small cup of fluoride in any public water system, whether it be a lake, a river, an ocean, we would be arrested for toxic waste dumping. But they put it in our water on a consistent basis, obviously.
What's over fluoride? What is the number you said? Because I mean, the studies now on sort of studies where we are on all this stuff. You know, who knows what to even believe anymore to a degree.
Well, now
let me finish my thought real quick. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good.
ADHD is like a record level. People have it at record level, as well as depression. They say 60% of the population of the world, maybe even, because now you have kids and adults and whatever else. I mean, we're talking about people day in and day out living within depression, living within, not living as a human being, living as a depressed being. And a lot of this stuff is really starting to fall back into the medicine, the food, and what you see us going through is this, the food cartel. Let's use that word. Let's just have some fun with this. The food
That's
cartel.
a good word to use.
It is, because remember in this, it really got more serious in the 70s and 80s, but starting in the late 50s, 60s, when they started beating up on the cigarette companies because it was killing people. And that was a success. It took a long fucking time, but that was a very successful campaign to a degree. It's kind of already come back where same amount of people are smoking now. But anyway, when that started really coming at those big Phillips and those big companies of the cigarette company, they didn't necessarily sell their cigarette stuff, but what they started doing is buying food companies.
Oh yeah.
General Mills is owned by Phillips. Phillips owns 80% of, well, I don't know the real numbers, 40% of the food industry. Another big cigarette owns the food industry is owned by the old cigarette manufacturer. Okay, fine. That's whatever it is. It's whatever it is. Business is business, except for now our food is all fucking cigarette-ized. There's nicotine in there, but it's just filled with shit to keep you going at it. That's the whole purpose of it. Not even to feed you down.
Not to get off the oral hygiene subject, but have you looked at the studies of nicotine recently?
No, I haven't heard specifics on that.
Nicotine actually has a lot of benefits to it. Now, this is a very touchy subject with most people because these studies are just now coming out. But there's a gentleman, Dr. Brian Ardis. He's the studies on nicotine is really one of the things that really put him on the map. His pushback against certain viruses, we'll say, was a big factor, but what he found nicotine to do to some of the sicknesses that are out there was just tremendous. And then he went it deeper. And
that makes sense.
When you think about it, nicotine is in broccoli. Nicotine is in different foods that we eat. Yeah. So it is a substance that we can take in. And actually, if we do take in small amounts of nicotine, there could be benefits to it for certain individuals.
Yeah, I mean, it pumps up your. I mean, to the point. I mean, if you're overdoing things, then you're going like anything, overdoing things. But your heart rate goes, your bloodstream goes, your circulatory system moves at a better pace. It's kind of like coffee, right?
Yes.
You're building that up. It's just the amount of stuff. And unfortunately, we don't have enough of. I'm sorry, I got to point up here. My camera's just above the screen, so I either talk to you.
I keep trying to look at the camera because my camera's
high.
I know. And I look at you.
It's like this, right?
Yeah.
So but the thing is unlike your company, people on the truthers, which are now looked upon kind of in the same deplorables. It's just evolved into truthers now.
Yep.
And that movement which is a good movement. It sounds like, of course, and one want to hear more about. But at the end of the day, the facts that we're getting about everything are skewed because the food's this, the food, and so the food cartel just feeds the medicines. What's that called? The pharmaceutical industry, which keeps you having the ability to keep eating off the food plate, and because you got more farmers, it's like there's this subworld that they have their own life, and we're just their money. Well, one
of the things that shouldn't be allowed is you have Monsanto, who Monsanto now is known as the biggest agriculture company in the world, basically, right?
Yeah.
Prior to that, Monsanto was the biggest manufacturer of
chemical
poisons. Yep, that's it.
Chemicals, yeah.
Monsanto was the ones that made. Yeah, Monsanto was the ones that made Agent Orange for the Vietnam War. So that's what they're known for. They're known for making Roundup, right? Which glyphosate is the cause of so many issues in our society right now. We'd be here for 5 hours if we went into that.
Rat poison, everything else is made out of that.
Fluoride is the number one ingredient in rat poison, by the way, that you brought that up. But my point,
I know a manufacturer in Wisconsin. There's a big one right in there. Yep. You probably know it.
Yep, absolutely.
They're building.
And when you look at Monsanto now, so Monsanto was the biggest manufacturer of chemicals and poison, which they're still one of the biggest. Now they merged with Bayer, so now they make our food. They're the largest manufacturer of food and agriculture. They're one of the largest manufacturers of poisons and chemicals. And now one of the largest manufacturers of pharmaceuticals.
Why is that?
Because now they can create the problem, right? And now they also have the solution, and they have the distribution to give us the problem. So we take in these foods, we get sick, and it boggles my mind how certain people will say, don't take supplements. So those vitamin B supplements, I think, is causing problems to your liver. No, it's not the chemical medications that you've had people on. So I'll get into even more personal detail with it. My daughter, had liver problems with her liver as of recent. Now,
whoa! How old's your daughter?
17.
Holy shit! Okay,
17 years old. She was starting to have problems with her liver enzymes. So now her mom.
That's a big deal.
We've been divorced since basically my daughter was 2, I think, is when we got divorced. Now, when she was 6 years old, her mom put her on Ritalin. Okay. So she had been on Ritalin. Then you look at the side effects of that, right? So then she was basically part of the pharmaceutical industry that you take this pill, there's this side effect. You take this pill to offset that side effect. This pill will offset that side effect. So for more than half of her life, she had been taking these medications, and now all of a sudden had liver problems. So I recently got custody of her and took her off all the meds.
Wow.
And told her, like, no more meds. Like, she had been telling us for years, I don't feel like myself. I don't feel like myself. I don't feel like myself. She had all these behavioral issues growing up. After I took her off the meds, she was on the honor roll last year. The whole year she was on the honor roll. That never happened before.
Much evidence.
I never had to even tell her to do her homework. She just does it on her own. So my business partner, Larry, like I said, we're like brothers, right? So he knows everything about me. He's met my daughter a gazillion times and everything. And when she got on the honor roll the second semester, he asked me, he said, was her mom like trying to sabotage her? Because you don't do anything.
Yeah, I know that's, I don't do anything. But I know that story though. I know that story. So that's going back over the last, what'd you say, from about 6 to 17. So, right. Is that right?
Yep,
the last 11 years, right?
11 years.
So producer Barbie and I were together for 20-ish years. not quite 20 years. I raised her youngest boy as well as the elder one. But to your point, that same sort of thing. And as soon as you go into the school system with any kind of ADHD or any kind of thing, any of the public school system, they immediately are trained. Let's call it, more fun words. They're triggered to indoctrinated.
Yep.
Let's play with both, because I still having fun with triggered. That's such a funny word. I've been triggered. Somebody said that to me on an interview the other day. They said, I just want to make sure that you don't, and you should leave time for it. And you've got to go through all different stories to understand the full picture.
Yep.
But there were some words there that I went, oh, no kid. Okay. Triggered. Really? Okay. But now I forgot my whole freaking point. But that same time frame is when that went through that, and then going, like you said, indoctrinated to say, hey, nurse, we have this, and start pounding medicine. Now, fortunately for Barbie and I, but really at that time, it was like she's a holistic, she has been a holistic person a lot of her whole life, right? Mm-hmm. Right. And so open to things and still, it's life, but it's not just what you say. I also know this other stuff. And so we're slow walk that shit. And believe me, it was tough because the school system wants your kid on drugs and they want to push him through. Yep. And they just want to push him through.
That's exactly what happened. The teacher was like, you need to put her on something. And then when
so the fucking teachers don't have to do anything. They can turn on a goddamn movie and tell them about how they're women and just let them zombie out there.
Yep.
That's our school system. That's why they're tearing it down. That's why they're tearing it down now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because those are the things that happen. So she puts her on Ritalin. And then the teacher says, well, she's much better.
A lot of pressure to do that.
Towards the end of the day, she still gets a little rambunctious. So you should up the dose. What are you serious? So, and it did. It made her zombie-like. So they had to change all these medications. And then her mother gets upset with me after I get custody. And now her liver enzymes are bad. Like right after I get her, her liver enzymes are bad. So I take her off the medications, and her mom says, "Don't put her on any supplements." So, I don't know what those supplements are going to do to her and do to her liver. So you mean if she takes vitamin B, do you think that's going to be bad for her liver? But the medications, and I said this, but the medications and the chemicals, oh yeah, that's all good, right? And she said her response was, "Well, she's young; her liver can recuperate."
Oh my God.
What?
Oh my God. Did you marry a 12-year-old?
Exactly. I'm like, she's got her own medical issues.
I'm sorry. I should not have said that in public.
Oh, no.
I would say it in private. I should not have said that in public.
For a reason, right?
Yeah. No, I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, dude.
But yeah, the pharmaceutical companies like Monsanto having that triangle that they have a distribution of poison. Yep, that's what it's the pharmaceutical triad. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, I'll talk a little bit since you wanted to be more conspiracy politics. When you go back to the war, right? I
just want the truth, brother. That's all we all want. We just want the fucking truth.
So Germany, when Germany had a company called IG Farben. IG Farben was the huge pharmaceutical powerhouse. Okay. We had Standard Oil. We had the Rockefellers. We had Standard Oil. Okay. Standard Oil made a deal with IG Farben that IG Farben would not get into the oil industry, and the oil industry, Standard Oil, and the Rockefellers would not get into the pharmaceutical industry. Well,
why would that even come up? Whoa. Why would that even come up? Or do you know? I mean, that seems like world directional control, third world.
The elites, right? The elites.
Yeah. They literally, I mean, that's a real thing. They literally said, okay, here's a contract.
Because IG Farben actually got in trouble, and this is why the company was dissolved, was because they were the ones that bankrolled Hitler in the war. So what happened then IG Farben got dissolved. All of the elites of IG Farben and the heads of the company came here, merged with Standard Oil, and now the Rockefellers were able to get into the pharmaceutical industry because now they had all those individuals that were already in the pharmaceutical industry, and now they could use petroleum-based medicines and spread it.
God.
And because they're all about oil and petroleum, right? So look at all the medications that are petroleum-based. The large majority of them.
A great deal amount. Yeah.
Yep,
I was considered a binder or a lubricant. But you know how it's funny because it's really weird because you have people that support that industry, meaning the just chemical as well as pharmaceuticals. That's a highly leveraged and supported politically industry. But then you also at the same time have the anti-plastic people. Now, I'm gonna put on Darth Vader for you for a minute. I'm Darth Vader right now. I can't talk like him, son. But I worked for the plastics. I built machinery for the plastics industry. So I did a lot of work. And I've been on Capitol Hill a couple of times arguing bills because that's like all over the place. You know where I'm going. Yep. Forget straws, there's a lot of that stuff going on. But one of the commercials that have been out, say a year and a half ago, are saying just to prove to you how bad plastics are. They're all over the world. That they're finding and within your body, you're filled with micro plastic. You know how they talk about that.
Yep.
But the pharmaceuticals are the ones probably putting that plastic inside you,
or
the people they're supporting while they're trying to make this regulations go through on plastics in general. Yep. So it's this weird. It's whenever you lift up the curtain or you look underneath the hood or whatever term you want, look behind the curtain in Oz, you see all this stuff, and it's like people. There's terms out there that I think we're in now and I forget the exact name, but it's kind of like ignoredness disease. It's just so many things. Like you and I have talked about 45 different things that are there, but hidden over, and we haven't even scratched it off.
Oh yeah.
That's some big shit. That Monsanto and those examples are and people are just probably like, they don't even get it anymore. They're just fucking living in and we need to get a handle on this. How do we start that crap? But go on. Yep. We'll get to that in a second. Go on.
But
I'm just pissed.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like, as one person, two people, what's the difference you can make? And that's usually what I tell people when we do the shows. I'm like, we're just trying to change the world one mouth at a time. So remove the poison, at least from that. And that was our whole thing of how we got started, was because nobody had done it. Like nobody out there had actually done it. There's a few all natural toothpaste. There was one toothpaste on the market, I think, when we started that actually had nano silver. And I don't even know if they're still in business. But like our whole system the idea was an advanced brushing system so that it kind of gets every angle, right? That's why when we go to shows and like some of the people that run the show, they'll ask us if we mind if there's another company that sells toothpaste. And there's only been like twice that I think that's happened. And it never affects us because that's fine. They can sell their toothpaste. We have so many other things. Like you look at, we were talking about the bacteria on the toothbrush and everything. And after 1 month, there's over 1 billion strains of bacteria on your toothbrush. And after that month, they start to create what I usually call subdivisions, okay? Because we all know what subdivisions are. So they create these little subdivisions of bacteria and cover them with a protective coating where alcohol can't destroy it, hot water can't destroy it. So what we created, or what we have, is we have a UV. So you put the brush in the UV, you close it, it turns on by itself. Kills all the bacteria on the brush. So that way when you wake up in the morning, because the Discovery Channel did a study that said your toilet brush is actually cleaner than your toothbrush. So
I saw that.
Everybody loves to hear that one when we talk to people. But that's why you put the toothbrush in the UV.
Great image.
You brush with a clean toothbrush. You don't brush with the toilet brush anymore. But that's why we don't really mind if there's somebody else selling toothpaste at a show with us, because toothpaste is our main product, but we have so many other products.
So you have the toothpaste, the rinse.
Yep.
Which is, go through that real quick. The rinse itself has additional silver that enhances the silver from the tooth that's already in your mouth. So when you spit it out, you're not losing that, but you have that enhanced.
So this way it'll stay in
and
there.
Then you have
exactly.
And then you have the other. Give me the other ingredients. I remember.
So our floss is fluoride free as well.
No. Sorry. We'll get to that in a second. In the wash, the ingredients that are making that up:
silver, xylitol, and then peppermint extract. Xylitol is actually a sugar alcohol, so there's a little bit, but xylitol, there's studies that show xylitol actually remineralizes your enamel, so it actually helps with your enamel, but also
builds enamel.
Yep. Nano silver does the same thing. Nano silver is the only thing scientifically proven to help regrow the enamel. It can eliminate sensitive teeth. And it's also the only thing scientifically proven to regenerate gum tissue. So now silver nitrate. Wow. Now silver, I'll give you the 45-second history on silver. That's what I usually tell people. So silver, prior to 1936, silver, if you went to the hospital, med center, any doctor, for any type of bacterial infection, viral infection, fungal infection, silver is what they gave you. It's the world's strongest natural antibiotic known to man.
Yeah.
After 1936, they synthesized antibiotics. They outlawed silver, got away from silver and all other natural products in the hospitals and med centers, and went to synthesize antibiotics. Now,
cheaper? Oh, did I lose you?
Bursa is like the superfund that you can contract.
Pause.
Yep.
I'm doing a timeout. It's halftime. We got to take a break here. You were breaking up a lot there. You were froze for a second.
Oh, okay.
I want you to go back. If you would go through the rewind, you don't have to make the funny looks. So I do also want to kind of work back into this, because we talked about this, but I really want to, how do we push? Because like you said, we're one mouth at a time. So that's kind of where we are for Damien right here. Right. But I not at this moment, because we got some really cool stuff coming up here. If you look, but I wanted to have you remind me to come back to him, because I do want, there are things we all can do. And one of the things, I want to do within the school, so you got to get some teammates to kind of join in and make things happen. Like you said, one at a time. But if we bring everybody together, we have like almost 400 people, almost 300 people on here right now.
Oh,
and
wow.
So, yeah. So it's that way that we've got to be able to find these different things that sit under this umbrella. And say the decisions made in our government, that is not now, but needs to quickly get back to being of the people, for the people, by the people. That was an easy one. That was an easy dinger on saying that. But then you add to that, if you look at things, we really have to get to the point where every decision made, and it was said best back right when it was founding, that any important decision made by the United States of America for its purpose has to be approved and decided on by the people. And that's why we were a democratic republic, not a democracy. Otherwise, it'd be California and New York running everything.
And Chicago.
That would be they wouldn't even need Chicago. I mean, I think you got to maybe. I mean, Chicago would just be more fun because they're the same cut of blood. Maybe worse in some cases. I think they're actually worse than New York. I think New York is going a little bit different way, and Newsom's trying to hold on to California. They're like, "Fuck you, asshole!" And he's like, "No."
And California is its own country.
Yeah, you know what? It's its own country, as in Iran. The people are nothing like the government there.
Right. Yes.
I mean, there are Hollywood people. Even Hollywood's getting to be 60.
But they don't associate with anybody outside anyways.
No, they're a fucking bunch of jokes. But at the end of the day, we're here doing this, and it needs to come to the point that is this a decision that best equals a solution for something that is needed. None of that is happening now, and that's why we've got to get together and get these these boxes separated. Race doesn't fucking matter anymore, and we all know it, but we keep getting told it is still.
Well, yeah, they keep on trying to pin us against each other and cause that friction, but that's why, like I say, that a lot of people call it the truther movement. But that's why we do so many different shows.
Define the truther movement for me right now, and I'm kind of jumping all over the place right now.
So here, this is usually how I explain it, because we do so many different shows, and we get a lot of times people come up to us and ask us why we're at such and such event. So, for instance, we do a lot of UFO and ancient civilization and stuff like that. We'll do a lot of UFO shows. So we did Contact in the Desert a couple months ago. And we get a lot of people that come up and they're like, what exactly are you doing selling toothpaste at a UFO show? But so you have these, like, I call it like the three buckets. So, and the only reason we know is because we do all these different events. So you got politics, right?
Exactly.
And I mean, I don't think there's anybody being lied to more than in politics. So you have that group. So, when we do the political shows, then all the people at these political shows, they're looking for the truth. They don't want to be lied to anymore. So then you do the UFOs and ancient civilization and stuff like that.
It's fucking insulting. They just keep going, and they know we know, and so go on, UFOs.
And they keep telling the lies. They keep telling the lie. Die with the lie is what they're doing, right? So so then we do the UFO shows, UFOs, aliens, ancient civilization, that kind of stuff. Which a lot of it, same thing. You can trace all these ancient civilizations back to all these cuneiform tablets that were found with the Dead Sea Scrolls that they didn't want us to know about. So though all of those people, they want the truth. They want to stop being lied to, right? So and then of course you have health and wellness, and just like politics, that's a no-brainer of why, all the different lies that were being told and sold and twisted around. So you do all these
a bucket. All add a bucket.
They don't usually mix. Like politics doesn't usually touch anything that has to do with UFO and alien, right? UFO and alien doesn't touch wellness or politics, and then health and wellness doesn't get involved in either one either. But all of those three buckets, they all share the same thing. Like I'm sure a lot of your viewers are the same way. They want the truth, right? They want to know, tell me the truth. Don't sugarcoat it. Which sometimes, unfortunately, we have to sugarcoat it because otherwise the message can't get out. So, you got to use certain words and certain phrases because then you get banned and striked and all these things. And what is that? Censorship, right? At the end of the day, that's what's going on is it's censorship, and people that's why a lot of people go to different platforms because of that reason,
Yes.
But that was a big part of our integrity aspect with going into Freshmouth and doing the oral hygiene, oral wellness was even our electric brush. So I'll even tell you a little bit about that. So you have two different types of electrics, right? You have the sonic
before
brush.
you go on, hold on. Can you hear me? I've been dying to add a fourth bucket: education, school. That's another truther thing, man. But going with the brush, didn't want to break. But I've been dying to say education because I'm on a mission on that.
Oh yeah, and that's another rabbit hole about what's being taught and so on and so forth But the electric brush, you have two different electrics, right? You have the sonic and you have the Oral B. The Oral B is the one that spins. And then the sonic is the one that uses the sonic pulses. That's what knocks all the plaque and bacteria off the tooth. So and when you study the market, it's a 50-50 split pretty much. So half of the people that use electric brushes, half use Oral B and half use sonic. So from a business standpoint, it would only make sense that when we were able to bring on another product, the electric, it would only make sense to bring both because then you're catering to the entire demographic, right? But then when you look at the scientific studies, the Oral-B, it spins, it cleans, it does that, but it spins so hard that it'll actually hit the gum line and can recede the gums. And then if you push too hard, it actually will start to thin out your enamel. Now, these are proven studies, and Oral-B knows that they're out there because their newer brushes, actually, if you push too hard, it lights up or it turns off by itself. So they know it does damage to your teeth. So we decided not to do anything with the Oral-B. We only went with the Sonic. So this way, anybody that is buying as a customer of ours, and we do like subscriptions too to make it easier and cheaper and more affordable and convenient.
Okay.
But
that sounds interesting.
Yeah, because that was our whole premise was at least most everybody's brushing their teeth, right? So this way they can get it every month. They can customize it. They can get, if they want to get just toothpaste every month, every 2 months, every 3 months, then we make it cheaper. If they want the whole kit, which is the toothpaste, the rinse, the floss, and a clean brush every month, because the brush, you should always use soft bristles, because the number one cause of receding gums and sensitive teeth is overbrushing. So if you use medium or hard bristles, it can actually do a little bit of damage to your teeth. But then when you use soft bristles, they start to fray sooner. And once the brushes start to fray, they'll cause micro tears in the gums, not something that you're going to feel pain with or bleeding. It's just micro tears. You don't microscopic, but it also lets that bacteria into the bloodstream. So if you wanted the whole kit, which is all 4 products, it's $19.95 a month, and it's delivered to your door. You're going to use it anyways, or every 2 months, 3 months, whatever you deem. But the whole premise was we never wanted to trade our integrity, because this way, anytime we put up a new product, if we're able to put up a new product, then people trust it. They know, like, yep, we did do the research the same way we did the research with the formulation, the same way we did the research with the electric brush, and so on and so forth. The UV cleaner, our UV cleaner even has a fan that helps dry the brush, because water breeds bacteria. So you put the brush head in there, it dries the brush, it cleans the brush. So this way you're not using the toilet brush anymore to brush your teeth, right? But the whole aspect was to have something that was us telling people the truth, explaining even the storyline and explaining where fluoride came from, why it was put in our water system, why, because what we're told is a completely different story than what's the reality and the proven facts that are out there.
It's insane, man. So what's next for you guys? And I think we're actually jumping out of order here. And again, you're good in time here.
Yeah.
I asked you a little bit ago because I didn't even notice. I'm just sitting here listening because there's so much. It's like, okay, I'll use a silver instead of a gold mine. You're digging through a vein, here, a little of information, and that's what the show's about is being able to get this information and how much this ties together. And I like your umbrella, that movement, referring to that movement of the truthers, because that's pretty cool. Because that's actually what's funny about it is all these things are things that you look back on that have been going on a long time, and all of a sudden people are, I think, sensing an urgency that something is at a. I used it before. I like to say this: we're at a precipice. We're at a moment in time where we either go off the edge, we go off the ledge, or we excel. That we're in a very special history. We've always, as a species and as an industry and as whatever, it takes decades or even centuries to evolve through the industrial revolution, this revolution. Now we're talking days, months, and years, and maybe a decade is a really long time that we're going to be evolving. And we need to have all this kind of stuff under control, because it's starting to feel, and tell me if I'm wrong, and then I want to hit a couple questions, if you don't mind, also, because we got a few. Yeah, we're a little behind. Ronaldo's on fire, man. She wants to know some shit from you. So, are we? It feels like we're now understanding the criticality, but it feels like this other what I was talking about, it's all coming to head where all these forces are coming together to get us to a point where when this utopia hits, they run it, and we're already set up, and we're the, what's the, my son used to say, we actually are living in the what was the
Matrix.
famous Matrix. Well, and there's a lot of people in probably in that truther movement that wouldn't be totally surprised by it if that was the case.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that's what we're at. We're at that point. And I think a lot of people are starting to realize it. And I think it's really critical that we really get more of a holistic. You said that earlier. People are more welcome to holistic now because they're smarter. We need to get there. In what he's talking about here. So what's next for you? We'll go here, and then I'm going to jump on to a couple of other things. For instance, I just want to say this because you're going to like this. How powerful? How powerful are these insights? I'm paraphrasing because I'm now not looking at it. Damn it. I could fake it, but that's kind of obvious. How could they? Let's see, who is this? This is Clive. Oh, Clive, I know Clive. Good job, Clive. Hey, how can we get involved in this? Is what he's asking.
I mean,
but
honestly,
before that, what's next? And how can you get involved? I guess they go together.
What we're trying to do is, obviously, we're trying to grow the business. We're trying to add more products into our kind of arsenal, so to speak. Like we just
hold on. Man, I totally blew this. Perfect suggestion. I think that's actually what he's asking for here. Before we leave, and yes, keep going with what you're saying, but before you leave, can you might be are you in on what are you receiving the stream from? Are you signed into StreamYard or no?
Yeah, the link that you sent.
Okay, I don't know if you can do this directly on the comments, or if not, put it in the private chat and I'll copy and paste it over. Some like the guest yesterday could do that. Other people haven't been able to do that. So I want your contact information because we got 300-400 people back and forth here. I think as you get past an hour and a half or so, some people are like, okay, I got some other stuff I got to do. I'll come back and look at the rest of it later.
Absolutely.
But at some point, somebody's going to ask a question, and it always happens in the comments. Hey, how do I get a hold of Andrew here, or how do I get a hold of the company X and X? How do I get a hold of Sue? Because I just saw that and I didn't notice it during the thing or whatever. So would you leave your contact information?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, my email is simple. It's Anthony@Freshmouth.Club.
Okay, so say it several times, but
Anthony
and can you type it as well?
.com.
Yeah,
so Anthony,
perfect. And when you put that in there, I'll see the comments and I'll read through a couple of these while you're doing that. Really enjoying this. What is next for Freshmouth? And I really want to see where because you're talking about your products and so forth, but you also are part of a movement. The company is supporting a movement or being supported through a movement in that concept. Powerful insights. How can we support the movement, as we talked about? And then amazing guest. So much value. I think he meant the host. Maybe he meant the guest. Okay. I think you're dating. I think you're gaining some followers here. So, and don't take all my followers, please. We'll share them, but I need some. Just leave some.
They're always going to come to you for the information. So we don't have a YouTube. We just have the company.
Oh, okay, good. I was nervous because I was thinking maybe they were going to start. I don't want to. I don't want to listen to Rod.
So
what was it? So Ronaldo here.
Yeah, she has the question. Actually, that's a really good question. What is your thoughts on?
Hey, hold on. You see it? She said squirrel/butterfly. I haven't read this yet. Squirrel/butterfly. You see that first comment? You know how we were joking about
squirrel.
She says butterfly.
Butterfly.
She's saying that for a reason because her and I joke all the time about that. So that's why she did that.
That's funny.
Ronaldo, that was clever. That's
funny.
That was good.
So her question was, what is your thoughts on cadaver bone and the use in replacing bone for teeth replacement? And yes, coconut oil is great for pulling. Do it all the time.
Yes.
The like they have dental implants. That's one route that you can go, because as far as the cadaver, I'm not familiar with the long-term studies yet of it as the replacement. However, and this
Well,
is
George Washington used wood, right? Wasn't that the whole story?
Now, I
We've
don't.
come a long way.
It's a little bit more controversial, and I've both my business partner and I have been researching and trying to find this, but there's frequencies that have been proven to regrow your teeth. Now, finding the actual frequency machine and finding the actual company that can manufacture this machine and put it out there, one is probably dangerous for the individual. So it'd take a very bold and brave individual, courageous individual, because you're really going against the mainstream narrative then. But if there's anybody that knows about where, and maybe she does, that's and it goes to the what's next for Fresh Mouth. That's something that we've really been trying to find somebody who can manufacture it. But there's certain frequencies that actually can regrow your teeth if you lose your teeth. And it's not just important because you lost your tooth, right?
Yeah.
A lot of things, I don't know if anybody's read the book or seen the movie called The Root Cause, but what it is Dr. Weston Price, decades ago, did studies on the dangers of root canals. So what happens is when you get a root canal done, they pull the root, obviously kill the root, clear everything out, and there's really not a way to kill all the bacteria that goes deep down into the root. So they do the best that they can, then they seal it up, and when they seal it up, the bacteria that's left can become anaerobic, which means it can live throughout the blood system without oxygen and can wreak havoc on our body. So what he did was he did all these different tests where people with MS, some people were actually paralyzed from the waist down, had neurological problems, and he pulled the tooth that had the root canal, and some, like one lady who was paralyzed from the waist down, within 3 days was walking again. Now, these are all studies that were out there. He did these clinical studies himself. He did thousands of patients. And then what he found was he started taking the tooth that he removed, and then he would embed it in a rat or a rabbit as a test into their skin. And that animal would then get the same disease that the individual had before the root canal, before the tooth was pulled. So there's a lot of different benefits to being able to regrow your teeth, not just because it looks better, it's aesthetically more pleasing, or you can eat food easier, and they also connect to your meridians. So now you kind of get into different what we hear is woo-woo stuff, right? But there's definitely studies out there that show that certain teeth are connected to certain organs in your body. So if you lose those teeth, or those teeth are pulled, and you think about it, if you had an infection in your arm,
I didn't know that.
Do they cut your arm off? No. But if you have an infection in your tooth, they drill it, or if anything, might even let's just yank it out. So instead of trying to find a solution, but as far as her question with the cadaver bone, I am trying to do more research to find the frequency.
So you're familiar
with that?
You're familiar with the So is she talking cadaver bone is in the teeth from another cadaver?
And I'm pretty sure it was with the implants. And I'm trying to get it to regrow through the cadaver.
But your what's next is more the direction of adding, because there's a lot of stuff we do on this show about frequency. And I guarantee you Ronaldo is also going, oh, that's an interesting thought. No, seriously, because your body, we talk about this a lot. And it's interesting to me. There's actually 3 brains, right? There's the brain. There's the heart, which actually controls the brain. And then there's the stomach, which actually controls the brain. And so everybody, the gut, but everybody gives the brain the credit, which is an incredible tool for all of this information and reaction. And what it does is it's being told what chemicals are required to release, which it does,
Mm-hmm.
whether I've got a gut instinct or my heart is broken and it's releasing these chemicals or these chemicals. It's fascinating. Never looked at it that way. It's almost like I've been looking at life as a checkerboard. Pretty good game. A little bit of strategy going on there, things happening. And then there was the game of chess, which I learned. Level chessboard. And I think that's really where our body functions at. And we're still working in the chess world versus this amazing creature of ours that we have, but we don't utilize because we've been convinced to use drugs and everything else.
Well, that's like energy.
I just want to add in Lynn. Sorry, I lost my glasses, so I went and bought some readers, and because you can't find your glasses when you don't have glasses. It's really hard to find glasses, especially when you just moved into a place and it happened while you were unpacking, and you know where it went, but you can't find it. So this was what I looked like before. I'm at a 6.5 plus. I know it's there. I don't know exactly what it looks like. I see the images. This is a 3. Now, if the lighting's really good, I can see it. If not, I can't see it. If you see me doing this, there's a reason. Like Lynn says, this is the kind of conversation we need. You know, this is what it's all about. Your product is the thing that is the reason, well, part of the reason we're having the conversation, because it makes sense. We're being told this, but we're supplying you with something that really is what we as animals were intended to use. You know, what inspired the name Fresh Mouth? And I kind of would guess that's a marketing thing. So it does all this stuff, but it also leaves you with a fresh mouth, right?
Exactly. So we made it where the idea was, well, it's obvious, but it was Fresh Mouth Club because we also have the club. So you could be, what I like to say, part of the family, because when you,
it's like Harry's. Harry's does that. It's like Harry's. Harry's does that. They actually have a good product for men. You've heard of that, right? Actual good shaver razors, and it's a monthly thing, and it can make even me look beautiful, which it still hasn't done, but I'm working.
So you still got the facial hair. I just
started. You know what? I know, and the problem is I just found it. It was actually given to me as a gift like 4 years ago. And when I moved, I found it and I go, oh, I remember this stuff. And I used a couple of things. I go, shit, this is pretty cool. Now I'm going to be a member. And so go on about your membership. Sorry, that reminded me of that.
The membership actually will probably answer Jack's question too. How do you stand out in such a competitive industry?
Exactly.
It's a match or a mixture between his question and what you just said about like the Harry's razor and everything. So that's basically what we were
too.
The Dollar Shave Club is what gave us the idea with the club aspect. So it was Fresh Mouth Club, and that was the whole thing. And the Dollar Shave Club did start out similar to us. You know, I don't know exactly. Like when we started at farmers markets and county fairs and stuff like that. We had bed sheets over our table. We spent all the money on formulation and product, and so we had bed sheets over the table. We had the plastic banners that I held into place with bungee cords. Right now, our setup is a lot more professional and everything. But Dollar Shave Club grew to $1 billion
back into the company.
Exactly.
You could reinvest back in.
Yep, exactly. And now we're at least at that point where we're able to pull on more items and bring in, like we have 2 different flavors now. The berry has elderberry and vitamin C as well. And then we're bringing a 3rd one on as well. So
berry is a mix. So berry is what are the flavors? What are the flavors?
We have mint. So the ocean mint, which we had to start with mint, even though like our berry, it's like it has menthol, so it's like a mint berry, and most people think it's a kid's flavor, but it's definitely not. Actually, kids like the mint more because the menthol is strong, but it's more like a mint berry. But it also has vitamin C and elderberry. So same thing. Like we're looking at different formulations for a 3rd product as well, for a 3rd flavor and a few different ingredients in there, kind of going into what we were saying about the lack of certain nutrients in our body, like iodine is good for your teeth as well. So that's another thing that we're looking to see if we can add into it. We're kind of looking into a methylene blue possibly into it as well, but there's a lot of back and forth about methylene blue and things like that. I think there's tons of benefits to it, but yeah, so that's kind of how we try to stand out in the industry and why we added it to the name. The Dollar Shave Club, I mean, he grew that company to $1 billion company. So that like our goal is we don't really want to sell. We want to continue to grow, because usually when these companies sell, because like Tom's sold, Hello sold, they both sold to Colgate. So now the large majority of their toothpaste have fluoride in it. Tom's lost a class action lawsuit, so they can't even say all natural anymore. They have to say natural, derived from natural products. So it tells you how many chemicals are in their product if they can't even use the words anymore, right? So that's what we're trying to do, is kind of expand similarly to like how Dollar Shave Club did, and that's how they stood out, was by those memberships.
Well, that is the perfect setup for Jeffrey.
Yep.
Jeffrey. That's an interesting combination.
Yep, it is.
Jesse or something. But anyway, Bowman, great question though, because I same thing, and you were just kind of alluding to it. What does success look like? So you've been around 5 years operating.
Yep.
Operating.
Yep.
Okay.
Operating for about 5 years.
What does it look? Because that's so the first year is a big year. Basically, most companies fail.
Yep.
And then 5 years is the next big thing. And so is the dollar amount. The $1 million a year in sales is this thing. 5 million a year, and that company changes. You have more employees, you have structure, you're not a mom and pop. The next big jump is 12. That's where you become another level of company. Between those two, that's kind of the path. Whatever.
Yep.
What is successful? What does it look like for you guys right now?
Well, we'd like to go international, because some of the shows that we do, they fly speakers in from different countries. So we just did a show in Florida a couple weeks ago, and I met one of the speakers. His name's Miles Johnson, super nice guy, and he was saying they don't really have products like this in Europe, in the UK. He's from the UK. So that's what we'd really like to expand to. Is
that why their teeth are like that? Is that why England?
That could very well be. That could very well be. And so I gave him some of our stuff to try, and he did. He loved it. He wants us to be on a show, and he does different shows in the UK. So it's a big step for us to travel to the UK, set everything up, and start to push the product there. We have a couple customers in Australia and Canada, but no like hub. So no international hub in some of these other countries, and that's what we'd like to do.
To build off of.
That way. So.
Well, that's awesome. Are you kind of in that dollar range? Do you not talk about that? Just turnover, where you sitting at?
Well, we're getting to the point now where we can start to we actually were sitting talking about going to the UK and doing one of his shows and trying to promote the product there and everything. It's definitely a far stretch from the farmers markets that we started at 5 years ago.
No doubt. That's awesome. That's exciting.
That was a tough start. Ronaldo said, do you think cortical silver is something you can use, or is it only used orally? I don't know if she's referring to cortical silver or colloidal silver. Colloidal silver is similar to nano silver, but nano silver is smaller particles. Colloidal silver is ions. It's extremely beneficial still. We have a nano.
Is that a lower level? Is that lower than nano?
Basically, colloidal silver got a bad rep in the past because your skin can turn blue. So if you drink gallons of it a day and go out in the sun, it has like a you remember the old school photos and where they'd have the black room and everything and the light. So it has a similar effect, colloidal silver in your body, because it's ions and it can't pass through digestion. So if you drink, and you have to drink like 1.5 gallons of it a day, which most people don't even drink enough water, let alone to drink colloidal silver that much. But there was somebody who did it, and their skin turned blue. So they touted him throughout the media everywhere. Look at the dangers. Look what can happen. And that was one person that, and if you look it up, you see him plastered everywhere on mainstream media. But nanosilver is different. Nanosilver are particles that can actually pass through digestion. So I don't, anybody who has my email address can reach out to me, because this part I know I can't get into too much detail on what nanosilver can do as opposed to colloidal silver, because you will definitely get striked on for that one. Because when I was on Billy Carson's Forbidden Knowledge, yeah, he got a strike for what I said about the studies and everything. So, but I'm more than willing to answer anybody's question if they email me and have questions on the details of the difference. But I definitely think that there's benefits to it. There we go. I definitely
Sorry
think that
about that. I'm so glad you said that, because I just been sitting here listening, and it's a really interesting topic. I mean, it's very I do a lot of these shows. So we started in and we'll get we can get back up. Maybe I'll give a second here for Ronaldo to redo her question, see if that's a thing, or hold on, I think she already did. Son of a gun.
Yeah. Yeah. We actually have she said, yes, it's the nanosilver. Yeah, we actually have a nanosilver supplement on our website as well, so that you could take that. Nanosilver is actually the studies.
So like a pill form?
No,
supplement?
It's liquid. You take a teaspoon a day, and silver can actually boost your immune system more than vitamin C at most times. So if you start to feel like that tickle in your throat,
I want to check some of this stuff out, man. I want to check some of this stuff out. I mean, that would be an interesting thing to kind of, because I'm old, and I Barbie always says this: you don't grow old gracefully. I'm not going to say that, but I'm still thinking it. I got to be honest with you. So, I want to try some of it. We'll talk later. So I'm sorry about that, dude. I told you I wait till a little bit further down, and the questions are slowing down. But I've been just sitting here listening, and just I listened to a lot of shows. It started in September. Constitution Day was our first live stream of this platform, and we have done. I think I'm close to 300 episodes now. Wow. And we've got about 20-30 people subscribing every day on average. Oh man, Ronaldo is just into this. Look at it. I'll go back to her in a second. But it's fascinating to hear these subjects, and we look at different angles of every subject. It's based on my book. It's 13 chapters, which I haven't even. I've actually written 3 books. Didn't want to publish any of them. It's a health thing. It's I love to write. Yeah. All that stuff.
You should publish them.
I am going to publish this book,
Absolutely.
But it's a nonfiction, and so I was querying people, and they freaking love the book. They're like, okay, so what's your platform? I'm like, and I wrote this long, beautiful, crafted story, and they're like, okay, great. What's your platform? What the fuck? How are you gonna? Because you got to be able to sell yourself, right? So I realized I got to build a platform. So that I finished the book September. I started in May, finished in June, started the platform right after that, practicing, because I needed a platform. And so here we are. And now it's like, this is more fun than the damn book, because it is the book. It's chapter by chapter. We do a chapter on schools. We do a chapter on religion, called the religion one's chapter 13, called Blinded by the Light. There's health, there's government, there's some really, because this show, and I think that's why it's growing so fast. And I'm funny as hell, and I bring on good-looking people like you to counter that. and we have smart subjects that people are really starving for. And we spend an hour and we'll be 2 hours easy. We spend 2 hours talking about something instead of, we have a commercial in 32 minutes. Please, this is your last thought. Tell me about the entire world of medicine and what you're gonna do to save it. Well, vote for me next time. I'll show you. We'll do it just like this. That's the world we live in.
Yep.
This is the world we need to live in.
Yep. 100%.
So there's your email, and you were talking about Ronaldo, about some different subjects. I think it was this one also about how do you what's going on. Contact you. You've got information. You want to tell us. One thing I wanted to keep on the. I specifically went with Harry's. I don't know if that was a good thing or bad thing.
No,
for
that's
no
fine.
reason. I'm not. They're not sponsoring us or anything. Maybe they will now.
That was actually a good example because they're the ones I think that bought the Dollar Shave Club.
And their whole thing. I mean, what I was saying. I mean, there's eye care, which is important for me because I have beautiful eyes. And then there's creams and the razors. And it's like, it's just, hey, be a guy, don't be weird, but you know what? It's not bad to take care of yourself. So when you're 60, you don't look like you're 90, because we all went surfing and hung out in the sun and did too much partying and,
I was going to say, party too much and
So
if anybody reaches out to me, the company is Oral Wellness, but I definitely love to answer nutrition questions, health questions, things like that, so if anybody does have any questions about, because like I said, with the fluoride, right? Go back to the fluoride. When fluoride, spiritually speaking, also calcifies your pineal gland, right? So iodine is something that helps break that up.
Hold on. Sorry, you just said pineal, and we're towards the end of the show, and I'm just thinking, okay, what does pineal mean? Pineal gland.
Your pineal gland. So your pineal gland, that's kind of So if you look at,
I'm not familiar with that gland.
When you look at in history, like the Egyptians, and you look at some of the Egyptian hieroglyphics, and the acorn. That's what that's representation of is the pineal gland. It's called your third eye. That's where, that's where another conspiracy comes in. Is they fluoridated the water, our toothpaste, and different things like that. It's in the air we breathe because of the chemtrails and so on and so forth. But a lot of it was also to back to your religion thing, right? It was to dumb us down spiritually and cut off that sixth sense and cut off that intuition that we normally have and those abilities by calcifying the pineal gland. Which,
all right,
you can take that a step further, because if you mix fluoride with milk, it calcifies it even more. And when you look at the studies across the world globally,
I'm a milk addict. I literally, I drink easily at least a gallon and a half of milk a week.
Raw?
Easily, just drinking it. Where I've moved, I'm going to try different stuff like goat's milk and other things. See if I
do raw milk.
Do raw milk, unpasteurized. You're saying,
right?
I'm not kidding you.
That's what
my parents used to buy. In the military, we go to the commissary. They buy 6 packs of milk, freeze it, and we lived on a lot of milk. When you were younger, the poorer generations, you add milk to the eggs to make them go further. Are you saying that milk, while I'm drinking water every once in a while, I drink more milk than water? I do. I swear to God. It's just a thing. When I drink milk, sometimes I feel my body just going. So it's bad for you, though, what you're saying.
What's the process? It's the process. Just like we were talking about Monsanto,
pasteurization.
Right? Yeah.
Pasteurization.
Yep.
Which is only to make it last longer, right? It's only to make it last longer. That's why you pasteurize.
It's always about money, typically.
Yeah.
You can get into the rabbit holes and stuff and the other things, but ultimately it's power. They can make it last. They can, just like Bill Gates has the Appeal product that covers the fruits and vegetables and doesn't let them spoil. Real food spoils. Like, sorry, it is what it is. You buy, like I have a place in the Philippines. I used to live in the Philippines for a few years. And there, the large majority of people, they go out, they buy their groceries for the day, right? Yep. And they cook what they're going to eat. Then the next day, they do the same thing. So they go, they buy 2 or 3 eggs. They don't buy 2 dozen eggs and put them in a fridge because guess what? Stuff spoils. And that's the other thing. I mean, there's so many different little, I should call it tidbits, but eggs in other countries, in most other countries, they're not refrigerated. When you buy the eggs, they're in a big pallet right in the middle of the grocery store or right in the market, the fresh market, we'll call it. But here, they have to be refrigerated or they go bad. Like, there's a lot of things where you ask questions and you're like, we didn't used to ask these questions back in the day, but there's definitely been a shift. So, like, if we were talking spiritually, there's definitely been a shift in resonance or something within the planet, because there's so many people that have woken up to the lies and not being fooled by the mainstream lie after lie after lie.
We were talking about frequency before and how important that was. And you can literally affect somebody's vibe. Your frequency is like a 6-foot area where you can actually feel somebody coming up. And the more you pay attention, the more that's real for you.
Mm-hmm.
But that stuff is real and exists. You know what's interesting? As you were talking, I was going, wait a minute. So as I'm moving into I guess rural. I don't know if you call this rural or not. It's a small town. I live in a town. I live in a city.
Yeah.
Actually, I live in the capital of Greer County.
Oh.
Yeah. I was pretty impressed by that. I don't know what that means, but it says capital of Greer County. I'm like, okay, cool. All right. So we got a name. So, but being different. And even in smaller towns and just the younger movement, my son included several of their friends, other people. Michelle Obama talked about this a while ago and people just laughed at her, I think, pretty much. But now there's a real movement of growing your own vegetables, growing your own foods. I got somebody behind me. So far I've had cantaloupe for breakfast one time. I picked it. Oh, God, so good. And then cucumbers and eggs and I was talking, and it's healthier, and like you said, people are turning already away from this, and the whole Kennedy movement. There's a movement. It's Make America Great Again, Make America Healthy again. Maha or something.
Maha movement. Yep.
The Maha movement. It's awesome. we're having some fucking fun again, aren't we? We're really the old movements that would come out and it'd be like, oh God, oh fuck, another one. The women against men movement. Now the movements are about making our country great again, making our health great again. And it's just so fun to say them. And before all the other, it's changing what you feel about what a movement is. It's always been a negative thing. Now it's cool.
Before you're like, geez, like you said, another movement.
Finally, we're having fun in this damn country.
That's a good point.
Yeah, we were having fun again. Look, this has been a great show. Actually, did she hit you up again? Really good stuff. Yeah. So you've got yet another fan, and Ronaldo. Is this, please don't disappear, please. He doesn't have a show, okay? He doesn't have a show. So you got to still come to me. Just say hi. I mean, we're digital friends. Actually, we have talked, but just leave the guy alone. Just say hi to him.
She definitely sounds like-minded, so.
She is awesome.
If she has questions, I definitely would love to hear them.
Smart. Very smart, very into this. More and more people are. Great show. Why don't you give a closing statement, a wave, to your new fans and your followers here, because you are on social media, right? You're on social media.
Yeah, we are on social media, but
I saw something.
Probably our weakest spot. So, I think the last post that we made on Instagram was me and my son at a show 3 years ago or something, or 4 years
Oh,
ago.
okay. No,
Yeah,
whoa. Stop right there.
you can
Stop.
look at our
Ow, my
social
ears
media.
are hurting. My ears are hurting. Look at, dude, I'm older than you, fucker.
But
And your son, my ears are hurting right now. You're not on social media. You're a social messia. You're a disgrace to all of us.
Exactly.
All of us. I'll tell you what. I don't ever do this. You're the first person I'm ever going to do this to. But we have sponsors at different shows. Every once in a while, we stop and say, "Hey, we have an intro thing, $25 a month. Shout out your name, but you need social media work done. Check out our social media. It makes the world of difference, dude. I'm telling you."
I 1,000% agree. I 1,000% agree. We have actually Billy Carson's son, Justin. He's really
I don't get that. You're on that show. That's a big show.
Yeah. It only lasted for 2 hours.
Yeah. See, well, there you go.
Because
all right,
YouTube took it down. So.
Oh, you mean it lasted being up for 2? Oh shit! Are you serious?
Yep.
Well, maybe we ought to just talk for like a month. They can't take it down while we're up, right? We'll have people bring in food. I can pee in a bucket. I mean, we can kind of
probably talk that long too. That's why I said, if anybody has questions on any of the subjects, please reach out, because I refrained from saying some of the things that I said on his show that got it taken down. It's on his Rumble, on Forbidden Knowledge on Rumble. But
Gotcha.
yeah, they took it down from but his son,
that's a big show, man,
is the one that does all his social media and a lot of his videos and filming and editing. And he's gonna start looking into helping us with ours, because we definitely need help on our social media. So the best way to reach us is through my email for sure.
All right, and so we got that there, and please let's stay in contact. I'm going to put you back in the green room and give a big wave, and we'll wrap it up right at about 2 hours exactly, man. Great show. Yep. Seriously, all joking aside, I'm actually kind of tired today. I apologize about that. Been a long couple of weeks, not much sleep. A new place, kind of dialing air conditioning. It's very hot outside. Anyway, thank you very much. Give a big wave. I'll hang out for me in the green room. I'll see you there in a second. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, damn it. I should have waited a little bit longer or hit it a little closer, but I'm sorry. I'm not going back to you. Wow. What were you going to say? Fuck it.
I was just going to say, I look forward to hearing from anybody who wants to reach out. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad I did go back. That was actually a good thing. What he said. And I agree. I mean, we've got a lot of things that are happening in the world today. That have been happening for a long time, but we're at a precipice. Everybody start using that word. I've tried to get I guess it was already a word, but watch party. Let's get together and talk about things. Have some discord. I told him before the show we were talking, and I said it'd be nice to have at least. I don't think we're going to have any, but it'd be nice to have a little discord, between us. Some differences are always good to talk about, as long as it's civil and smart and usable. So here we are. We've wrapped up another day in our beautiful life here now in Oklahoma. I'm really happy about this because it's a totally different world. The hardest thing is you'll appreciate this, Anthony. I have to get used to banks only being open Monday through. Well, I think most of them are through Saturday. I think you get a little Saturday, but their banks are only open until 3:00 in the afternoon, and that's it. They're done. So a lot of things are differently handled. It's much more it's much more of a different lifestyle. You don't have the access to so much stuff, but also back to the point we were making right at the end of the show there. In these big cities are starting to fall into this, true. And even liberal states are starting to fall into this, true, because the people are different than the politics. Not everybody, but a lot, usually, yeah, big time. I got to fix this. My table's moving. The out here, I see I see farms all over the place. Okay. So, and then, so you also have, little places where there's a corn shack, shed, or whatever you call them beside the road, or you can pull in and buy them. A lot more people are doing that. Like he said, you're not keeping them in your refrigerator for 2 months because they're filled with this and that. Plus, you got bugs instead of chemicals that are going with these plants and so forth. So it's funny because we talk about the society now, like with my granddaughters getting it's changing. I want to say like our generation, or the older part of my generation in the 60s, when there was a lot of rebellion about things. Unfortunately, the rebellion of today's same college kind of age people is for totally different things, and I think they're lost a bit. And of course, the generation coming up behind them are very concerned, and the generation after them, in other words, that the parents of my grandchildren age, those kids, that my kids are the transitional age, in that AI is coming. Anybody after that, they know nothing else of what really built this country. And I'm not going, I'm an old guy, so I'm awesome. But what I am saying is that we've spent too much time not looking behind our backs, not looking at defending, not democracy. I don't give a crap about democracy. It's not democracy. We flat throw that around. Democratic republic, that's the perfect union. A more perfect union, not the perfect union. But we really have gotten very lazy in this country over generations. And when I say that, we've allowed, you use the word, Anthony, indoctrination. Our school system is it's ripe with Panthers and Vixen and really, Trump started in the first term, winning that term on basically draining the swamp, and doesn't use that term anymore, but the same needs are there. And that same thing goes with the school system. So come join us. I mean, we're in so many, I don't want to say so many different subjects, but there's a lot of things that the book, like I was talking about, is 13 chapters. And by the way, it's done. I've queried it. I'm sorry, up here, you're down there. I've queried it already. A couple, like I said, it's got great reaction. I got to get back to it. I had to rewrite the marketing, which I did just like a week or so ago. And it's actually got a real nice marketing plan. Now I just got to sit down, take the time. I had 3 shows yesterday. Well, 2.5. You know about the third one, the 3, the 2.5, the half. So at the end of the day, I'm just glad that I can always do insights and straight talk now from Oklahoma, now from a part of the country that views our country a little differently. I've always lived in big cities. Most of us do. Living out here, I get a different approach to the food system we talked about today. I get a different approach to politics. I get approach to people just, being nice. One thing I got to learn, or I'm learning already, is relax, dude. Just slow down. I cannot, outside of this studio and home, same thing. Home's back there, studio's way up here. The difference is I can do things out there, man. Somebody starts talking to you. Hey, what? Yeah, you don't just rush people around here. It's a much more thoughtful way of living life, fortunate for insights and straight talk, fortunate for me, your host, Rod Duff. I'm here, but I'm out.
Before you leave, if you'd like to watch another one of the podcasts, click the first link in the description. We love having you here and we appreciate all your support.
And with that, producer Barbie and I are out.